Hello everybody, sveiki visi. I'll try to be extremely concise because presentation of our new strategy at our regular stakeholders event took at least 1.5 hours. But before I start, I think it's worth to briefly at least to say what we do now. KN is a company which operates 5 terminals, both oil, chemicals, biofuels and LNG in Lithuania. 2 presently we operate in Germany, and 1 we operate and maintain in Brazil. But in effect, what kind of company is KN historically? KN historically was established more than 60 years ago, and it was always serving, as a, let's say, a balancing point between a supply of demand and, let's say, bridging the energy markets. Presently, if to take away from our portfolio LNG operations in our oil, chemical, and biofuel terminals, in general, we are handling the most conventional, still, let's say, form of energy used for transportation. Talking about LNG, it's more used for fertilizers, maybe also for some energy production, but it's a bit different story. And in general, KN's role, especially in the region, covers all three corners of energy trilemma. So first of all, we are important to assure competitiveness of the oil products, chemicals, and also natural gas in the region. Even before the war, almost 10 years ago, when FSRU Independent started operations, it was a plan B in a worst-case scenario, which actually happened less than 2 years ago. But the biggest role of this infrastructure was that from the first day of starting operations, natural gas prices in the entire region became competitive and eliminated the effect of monopoly. So we were covering and are still covering equity corner, and not only energy equity corner and affordability corner, and not only in LNG, but as well we do the same in our oil terminal by creating alternative, let's say, supply gates or entrance as well for conventional fuels like diesel, gasoline, biofuels, etc. Talking about another corner, energy security corner, so it is obvious that we played a significant role after war has started in Ukraine, and there was no chance to blackmail this region anymore, and we were, let's say, capable to withdraw from any Russian molecules from the first day of the war. And last but not the least, of course, I believe that we are covering very strongly the third corner of energy trilemma, where sustainability stands for, and why, for example, LNG is a least pollutive, let's say, alternative, fossil alternative. So our contribution is undoubtful. And for example, we can use like Brazilian project, where, let's say, this project, which part of that we are, is also very important in terms of using LNG as an energy producing source, as a more sustainable comparing to, for example, coal. So our strategy simply, and our vision till 2050 is related probably with a phrase said by Charles Darwin. We are not the biggest player, but we are not maybe the strongest player, but we will be the most flexible and adaptable in terms of creating needed infrastructure, accumulating needed capacities in all our projects, in all our terminals, in order to support energy transition in the region. So towards climate neutrality. So why it is important? Energy contributes or affects 3/4 of entire, let's say, climate change effect. So it's definitely obvious that we should act now, and in accordance to various projections and various scenarios, there are many opinions, but if to take a global view, even by 2050, about 40% of entire energy mix will still consist from the fossil fuels, oil and natural gas. Sounds strange, but you know why? Because it will push out the most pollutive one. I have in mind coal, down to also 11% by the latest projections. But this is only one scenario. So you know, when we were creating a long-term strategy, we need to choose the scenario in which we believe. We believe that energy transition is extremely important to the planet, but we also believe that you cannot destroy economies, countries, and the transition should go in a smooth and a sustainable way. Talking about our strategy in a more detailed way, so we have three different periods where we have different, let's say, goals to be achieved. So talking about the closest period till 2030, our ambition is to set the foundation for the new energies, so-called, for our new businesses, which will be actual, definitely actual in our region. Especially, we heard the minister and, let's say, Lithuania's ambition to become self-sufficient in terms of energy and to have almost only green energy or green renewable energy generation. That means that we will have some opportunities in the field of carbon capture and storage, which will be needed, and also in a field of liquid hydrogen carriers and even, let's say, energy storage projects. So the first period is about setting the foundation, generating needed competences within a company, even maybe making some acquisitions in the mentioned new energy fields. Talking about our present businesses, we are going to grow our revenues by 50%, and that comes out mainly from, let's say, value proposition improvements and operational and commercial excellence initiatives. So talking about the other period, till 2040, we believe that all those new energies can be commercialized, so meaning we will have business cases behind. So there will be a balance between demand and supply side, and we will be ready to provide needed services for our customers by handling of, you name it, methanol, ammonia, and what will be, let's say, actual and applicable in our region. As well, it is a period where we see growth and significant growth of our global footprint by adding into our portfolio additional LNG projects globally, where they will be more demanded, for example, Southeast Asia. And of course, 2041 and 2050 is a period when we will probably be phasing out from our LNG business. As of next year, we are becoming owner of FSRU Independence, and it most likely during the last decade of a strategic horizon, it will be, let's say, a task to allocate this asset somewhere where it still can work. And as well, I believe in this period, let's say, our conventional transshipment storage activities will be substituted by renewable bio forms of energy, liquid forms of energy in our terminals. To be more precise about the closest strategic period, I already mentioned all the blocks. And maybe what is important to highlight here, one of our three business streams, LNG stream, we will be very focusing on developing green solutions, not only by creating new infrastructure and creating new partnerships, but also as being an owner of one of the top 10 polluters in Lithuania presently, if to take FSRU Independence. So we will be investing heavily into supplying all possible operations with green electricity and replacing fossil fuel used for regasification activities. As well, another initiatives related with any possible emissions reductions, efficiency improvements in the operations and infrastructure where we do. And talking about new energies, I already mentioned. Our ambition, talking about the E part from ESG, about the emissions. So our ambition is minus 30% till 2050, minus 70% till 2040, and to become absolutely climate neutral by 2050. Those ambitions are quite a heavy ones or big ones, because, as I said, as an owner of FSRU, we need to look for some solutions, including CCS solution, carbon capture solution, to continue operations, but achieve ambition on a significant reduction on any greenhouse gas which we emit from our activities. We are slightly ahead, maybe, with some of ambitions. It's worth to mention that, for example, biofuels handling in our terminals here locally in Lithuania increased 16 times within the last 4 years. And we are a part of such interesting and important R&D initiatives like Horizon Europe high-end project on hydrogen, where with participation of universities, we are developing together technology on producing green hydrogen from biomass. We are leading partners, so to say, in a regional CCS, let's say, consortium, together with Schwenk and Orlen, on developing the value chain about the carbon capture, storage or utilization in the future. And of course, we are doing quite well already during the last 5 years on significantly improving energy efficiency, and that means directly improving, let's say, or reducing our emissions. So why we believe that we will succeed? Because our strategy, again, is about all three important corners. It's about planet, it's about the people, and it's about the profit and about the balance between it. Because shareholders will still be willing to get profits, people will still be willing to live in a more clean environment, and we are located in Klaipėda, especially within the society, in the middle of the city, so it's important to give contribution. And talking about the planet, I already mentioned, we are following ambition of all major oil, gas, energy, and other companies on to become absolutely climate neutral by 2050. So, sorry by taking 2 more minutes, but I have some connections in the moderator side.
Maybe you come from United States? Thank you very much, Darius.